going on? Zach here coming at you today in Raid Shadow Legends. Welcome to the video, guys. I am happy to have you along for the ride as we rank from 10 to 1 the best epic champions here midway through 2022. Now, same disclaimer as I gave in yesterday's video where we ranked the top 30 legendaries is going to be, this is my personal list, guys. Of course, this is just hypothetically if I was to draft epic champions on a brand new account who I would choose. Of course, there are hundreds of great epic champions inside the game, so let me know in the comments below who I snub. Shockingly, a lot of you guys agreed for the most part with my top 30 legendaries. Not a lot of disagreements, not a lot of massive snubs there. So let's see if I can nail it again in today's video. And let's start with, even though it's a top 10, we have like 12 or 13 champions because there's a couple ties. I'm sneaking in a couple ties in there.
I mean, what were you expecting?
We don't want to do top 13. It doesn't have the same ring to it as top 10, you know? So let's start out with one of those ties. And I'm actually going to give it first time making his appearance in a top 10 of any list, but I can no longer ignore the Fatman coming in. Tie number 10. Farkarin the Fat.
Farkarin the Fat. Farkarin the
Farrakin the Fat.
You look like you could use a friend.
This dude is a beast. I mean, he has decreased defense on his A1, which is really handy to have, 50% land rate. He has HP burn and a poison on his A2, great for bosses. And then his A3 is a tremendous ally attack, one of the better ones DPS-wise in the game because we're placing increased crit rate and increased crit damage on all allies for 3 turns on a 4-turn cooldown before the ally attack. So really maximizing damage there, which makes up for the damage mitigation that naturally comes with an ally attack ability. So I really love Farkarin the Fat.
He never normally thinks about things.
And we're seeing him use even more and more and more. He has some damage mitigation on his passive as well. So Fatman, you made it. You made it, bro. You made it to Ash Raid Shadow Legends top 10 epics. Congratulations.
I wish I didn't.
The tie is actually going to be one of the best revivers in the game, and it's going to be Ursula the Mortar tie, coming in tie number 10. So Ursula is a beast as well. She does require like 150 books, but other than that, she's great, right? She has turn meter on the A1. On the A2, she has increase and decrease attack on a 3-turn cooldown with an AoE attack. And then on the A3, she has a revival, also places increased defense and strengthen on all allies for 3 turns on a 5-turn cooldown. I mentioned it before, but those of you who have not built her or unfamiliar with it, like Arbiter, she can use this ability just to place increased defense and strengthen on all allies. She does not have to revive somebody, so she has that in her kit as well. A little bit more reliable. Again, it lasts for 3 turns on a 5-turn cooldown. Not bad at all. How many times am I going to say not bad at all? Not bad at all. The speed in Doom Tower battle is not bad at all. All right, let's go to number 9, guys.
Please don't.
Number 9 is going to be personally one of my favorite champions out there. I try not to, you know, stack it too hard in terms of the champions I just like, but Vogoth is a champion that I use a ton. Great in arena, great against Bommel, great against anywhere you're going to be taking a lot of damage. He really changed the game a little bit for a lot of players when it comes to go second teams, tag team arena, or for the arena. Because of him, you can take a big nuke to the face. As long as you keep everybody alive, he's going to heal them right back up because of his first passive. His second passive also places a leech debuff on the attacker for 2 turns. So fantastic there as well. He does have an AoE provoke with decrease attack on his A2 ability. His decrease attack is conditional on landing the provoke, so it does not work against bosses, which is unfortunate. But hey, he's still a beast. He has a triple hitter on his A1 as well with turn meter, or excuse me, increasing the duration of random debuffs. So I love Vogoth, man. If you guys own Vogoth, if you've built Vogoth, you know what I'm talking about. This guy is just a boss. All right, coming in at number 8 is going to be another old school champion, but a goodie. And how could I make this list without including Maneater? Maneater is the staple of unkillable teams. Bat Eater, Maneater, double Maneater, 2-1 Maneater, you name it. There's a lot of Maneater love going around, especially in Clan Boss. And hey, this dude's good even beyond clan boss. Sure, he has Ancient Blood, fantastic. He receives damage, which is basically almost no damage. You can't even notice it. Unkillable and block debuffs for 2 turns on a 5-turn ally. And then on the Siphon ability is A2, we're fully depleting target's turn meter and then filling his turn meter equal to the amount the target loses on a 3-turn cooldown. This is a tremendous ability. It's a la Lysandra, very similar to Lysandra's A2 ability. So very, very strong. And then he has decreased attack on all enemies on his A1 ability. So I think that Maneater definitely deserves to be on this list. And again, very versatile for progression players, for new players, or even mid-game players, even outside of clan boss. So Maneater definitely is a boss. Next up, we have the little fella. It's Geomancer. The little fella with a big, tall hat, man.
You insulting me? So
Geo, dude, he's a beast, right? I mean, Geo's a beast. You could argue he should be higher up on the list. He has an AoE with decreased accuracy on his A1. On his A2, he's removing buffs. He's stealing buffs if they're under HP burn. And then on his A3, he has the burn along with full turn meter depletion. Fills his turn meter of this champion by the amount the target loses. Very similar to the Siphon ability. Also on a 3-turn cooldown. And then has that burn, as I mentioned, and weaken for 3 turns. This is on a 3-turn cooldown. But what he's really known for is, of course, his passive, which is decreasing the damage all allies receive by 15% and deflects that damage onto each enemy under an HP burn debuff placed by this champion. So man, oh man, oh man, that's great. And then he has 30% of the damage he receives when he's attacked. So that can be just a tremendous damage dealing ability and support ability, just that damage mitigation of 15%. So yeah, Geo is incredibly widely used in this game, and for very good reason. He's a beast. We have a tie coming up, guys. We have a tie. 2 Spirit Affinity debuffers. Any guesses who they are? This is number 6 on the list. Well, one is going to be Stag Knight. Stag Knight is still an absolute beast. He's at 107 base speed, very fast champion, first champion in the game to have increased accuracy buff, which I mention every time I mention him. We have decreased speed on his A1. Love that he brings decreased speed to the table at a pretty dependable rate, because each hit has an independent 50% chance of landing it. And then he has, on a 3-turn cooldown, 95% of landing decreased attack and decreased defense. Of course, that can be 100% if you pick up the sniper mastery and the affinity is correct. Yeah, Stag Knight is just tremendous. I mean, those stats, even the stats, are often overlooked on Stag Knight. He's, I'm sure, a champion that a lot of you guys rely on pretty heavily. The next one is going to be Deke, a little bit of a newer addition to the game compared to Stag Knight. I think about a year later. He has a leech on the A1. He has decreased defense on the A2. And then he has turn meter fill and depletion with an extra turn on a 3-turn cooldown. You guys already know the beauty of a Deacon Armstrong is that extra turn allows him to essentially keep decreased defense up all the time, and that extra turn pushes this from a 3 to essentially a 2-turn cooldown. Incredible champion for control. You can run him in a stun set. So much versatility on this champion, more than meets the eye. Also has speed in all battles by 19%. Fantastic aura, same as Duchess on the aura on Deacon Armstrong. So definitely one of the better champions out there. We have our last tie coming in at number 5, guys, and let's just start right here with Godseeker Aniri. Godseeker is a legendary. I feel like you could say this about any champion from here on out. If they were legendary champions, you could probably say it about all the champions, they would be used, widely used as much as they are right now as epics, and they'd be considered some of the good, solid legendary champions in the game. I feel that strongly about them. We have a heal on the A1. We have an AoE with a heal, decreased duration of all buffs on enemies, increased duration of all buffs on allies. This is on a 3-turn cooldown. I cannot overstate how good of an ability Quest for Meaning is. A lot of people think of Godseeker, they think of the passive and the revival, which we'll get to in a moment, but really an AoE attack with the heal, with the decrease and the increase damage based on defense. I mean, that is a fantastic ability. It's a legendary ability right there. And then we have a Rise of Glory. This is a single target revive on a 4-turn cooldown, which is what we're looking for on single targets. We'd like them to be 4 turns. Revives a dead ally with 50%, then fills a turn meter by 50% and resets the cooldown of all of their skills. That's a unique reviver ability that only Godseeker Aniri has at the time of this recording. And then we have increased the amount of healing all allies Deceive by 10% as a passive effect all the time when she's on your team. That's great. And then, if an ally is about to get killed by a fatal hit, it will preempt that and instantly place a revive on death before the damage is taken. So a break in case of emergency revival on a kit that already has another revival on it. I am a massive, massive fan. Can you tell of Godseeker Aniri? Banner Lords, Archmage Helmet. This is the second champion coming in on the two-way tie at number 5. Archmage, man, again, very fast, low base attack, but dude, this dude smacks as well. It's pretty crazy. He has turn meter on the A1 fill by 20% if the attack is critical, nice to have. On the A2, he has a stun chance, 75% of stun. After attacking, decreases turn meter by 20% if he doesn't land the stun. That is fantastic. What a great CC ability. 75 stun on a 3-turn cooldown that actually hits pretty hard. It's an AoE attack. If the first attack is critical, is a great ability, man. And then increased speed, increased crit rate, both big versions, and increased crit damage. Why not? All on a 3-turn cooldown. He's immune to turn meter depletion effects, and he has speed and arena battles by 17%. He is the first Doom Tower normal secret room champion that you guys can go ahead and claim, and I would highly encourage all of you do that if you have not done it already. Next up is going to be the strongest arena champion out of any epic, in my opinion, and that's Madame Sara coming in at number 4. So Madame Sara is actually a little bit higher than when I did one of these videos about a year and a half ago. She was on the list, but I think she came in at like number 8. And I just think that, you know, I don't know, maybe some of you guys can relate to me, maybe not, but if you have Madame Sara, she's just like, she's irreplaceable. She's irreplaceable for the arena. She's just the best at what she does. You get decreased attack, decreased defense, and remove all buffs from all enemies. I mean, that as a starting move, Midnight Ritual, she's still on my main arena team as my debuffer. She's an epic champion, but she's one of a kind, you know, she's one of a kind. So I just, this ability is just so freaking strong. And on the A2, it's another AoE. We can steal buffs, place block debuffs if we do steal on all allies who have a buff stolen. And then we have True Fear on all enemies who have buffs stolen. I mean, that's a great ability as well. And then check this out, plays a shield at the beginning of each turn. When attacked while under that shield, she has a 35% chance of placing a fear, so control in her kit as well. Man, she just does it all, especially for the arena. I love Madame Sara, number 4. Coming in at number 3 is going to be Dark Kale. So Dark Kale is a Doom Tower Secret Room champion as well. You know, honorable mention to Ryan the Conjurer. I'm actually a big fan of Ryan. She didn't make the list, but you could say that about a lot of epic champions that didn't make the list. 3-time hitter in the A1. Each hit has a 35% chance to instantly activate 2 poisons or a poison and an HP burn. So we have instant activation on the A1. It's a 3-time hitter. Each hit has that independent 35% chance of activation. That's a great DPS machine, just churning from the A1 of Dark Kale. On the A2, an AoE attack with decreased attack, 100% land rate on a 3-turn cooldown. Each critical hit also has 100% chance of decreasing the duration of all debuffs on the target by 1 turn. Sometimes that's all you need. On the A3, we have 100% chance on a 3-turn cooldown of placing 3 poisons and a poison sensitivity debuff on the target for 2 turns. So now we're placing 3 poisons, got poison sensitivity, we got decreased attack on an AoE, we got decreased duration of buffs, we get instant activation on the A1. I mean, this dude is a monster. And then decreased crit rate of enemies under 2 or more poison debuffs by 15%. Keep in mind, Clan Boss only has a 15% crit rate, so we can reduce the chances of those monster hits from the Clan Boss or any other boss for that matter. Dark Kale comes in at number 3. Number 2 is going to be, any guesses here? Number 2 and number 1. Who do you think? Who do you think? We got 2 left.
Feel the romance.
Why are you looking at me?
Ugo! I love you, Ugo. She is the boss. It pains me not to put Ugo at number 1. But anyway, attacks 1 enemy. We have a leech on the A1. Chance increases by 5% for each alive enemy, or enemy alive, depending on how you want to say that. I say enemy alive. Anyway, on the A2, 3-turn cooldown, attacks all enemies, 100% chance, decreased defense. Also has a 50% chance, make it 75 when booked, make it more for each enemy alive of placing block buffs. block buffs and decreased defense on a 3-turn cooldown. Sign me up. Block buffs could be my favorite debuff inside the entire game, and she has that and decreased defense at a very dependable land rate on her A2 ability. Can be 100% depending on where you're, where you're at, right? So let's go to the A3. It keeps getting better. Ugo's Brew. We remove all hero reduction debuffs from all allies, and then another random debuff from all allies. Again, sometimes that's all you need, just one debuff to be removed. And then heals all allies by 20% of this champion's max HP. If all allies are dead, revives them with 50% HP, and fills their turn meter instead. Is on a 4-turn cooldown. So a conditional revive, we have a cleanse, and we have a heal based on her max HP. That is fantastic. And then plays an increased speed and block damage buff on this champion for 1 turn whenever this champion is the last living ally is killed. So keep her alive a little bit so she can get back to the A3 ability and, well, revive all of your dead allies. So, man, yeah, what else do I have to say about Ugo? She's just fantastic. Great champion. Great champion. All right, number 1. Man, there's so many snubs in this video. Like, where's the love for Skullcrusher, man? He's the only counterattack champion in the game. You could definitely make the argument that, like, a champion like Skullcrusher, heck, a champion like Uragrim, I mean, Skull Crown. I could just keep going on and on and on and on and make this a top 100, you know? I'm down to do that someday if you guys want me to. I mean, just go to any faction, Sylar, you know? Go to any faction, you can find easy snubs. Ryan, as I mentioned before. I'll just do one more. We didn't mention any demon spawns. Magnar, I mean, a boss. Umbral, Lover, you know? So anyway, I Allure, come on, man! Anyway, number 1 is actually going to be, in my mind, just one of the most powerful champions in the game, bar none, including every legendary in the game, and it's Seer. How could I not make it Seer? Sure, she's not the best against bosses, but she's great against bosses. I mean, if you like 200, 300,000 damage against level 25 dungeon bosses, Ice Golem, Fire Knight, you know, Dragon, then Seer, sign her up. She's void. There are no negative affinity matchups that you have to worry about. All you need to know is she's going to come in with a Karma Burn ability, and she's going to absolutely decimate, evaporate every enemy alive. That's it. That's it. Not only that, but she adds or saves so much time to anybody who owns her, man. She is a time saver because of how fast she allows you to farm in every single dungeon. And again, she's great against bosses. She's great in Doom Tower waves, of course, or all the random floors between the bosses. I think that Seer is the best epic in the game. Do you agree or do you disagree with me? And who are you most angry at me for snubbing on today's list? A lot of good champions in the epic rarity, guys. Let me know who is your favorite out of the ones that I mentioned, and who would you put number 1? Overall, out of every epic in the game, who would you put number 1? Guys, thanks so much for watching, and as always, take care, guys.